Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about a news story that is coming out of Marvel and/or I guess technically Sony Pictures, but more Marvel. And that is that in an interview with Esquire Magazine, Tom Holland, who is the Marvel Spider-Man, stated that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield would not be returning for Spider-Man 3, Marvel Spider-Man 3. And that it would simply be a continuation of the previous two films in that Spider-Man universe. Now, there's a couple inconsistencies with this, and there's a couple of things that I might want to outline as maybe a bit of a prediction. But let's get to the quote first. Now, the quote that he actually gave is, and this is in response to being asked the question, are Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back to reprise their roles as Spider-Man in this film, which I don't necessarily know if that has been asked to him in an interview. And his response was, no, they will not be appearing in this film unless they have hidden the most massive piece of information from me, which I think is too big of a secret for them to keep from me. But as of yet, no. It'll be a continuation of the Spider-Man movies that we've been making. Now, if you notice, see, here's the thing. In previous years and in previous press junkets, Tom Holland has been a one-man spoiler machine. He has not. It has not been easy for him in press junkets, which is why a lot of the time, especially if there's a lot of really big actors in these movies, like the Avengers films, they'll stick him with a few people to kind of keep him in line so that he doesn't spill the beans on the movie. Now, in this scenario, I think this is kind of a bit where the thing is, Marvel, they don't exist in a bubble. They have people that look on social media and they see these trends and they see these various things. And they know that people have been talking about a live-action Spider-Verse. They know people have been excited about it. It's been heavily rumored for the last couple of months that that's what's going to happen. And we also have the confirmed hirings, by the way, of Jamie Foxx returning as Electro and Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock. And we also have rumors flying around right now that Willem Dafoe may be showing up as a reprisal of the Green Goblin from Tobey Maguire's original first Spider-Man film. Now, with all of those characters coming back, if you don't bring back Maguire and Garfield to be in this movie and fight their own supervillains, and just have Tom Holland do it, I think that's not only a slap in the face to those two movie universes, which the Amazing Spider-Man is like, okay, it's not great, but it's okay, and that's a definitely big smack in the face to the Sam Raimi films. In addition to the fact that Sam Raimi is going to be is helming another movie for Marvel right now, which is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So you have Sam Raimi basically on speed dial if you need to ask him anything. Now here's and that's why I kind of take this information with a grain of salt when I read these things, is because movie studios on press junkets, here's the thing. A movie studio, if they're trying to keep this under wraps, if they're trying to keep it under wraps to an extent that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not going to be in this movie as Spider-Man, then this is what they would tell Tom Holland to say in an interview. They would tell him to deny it. They would tell him to say no. And they would tell him that this is not, it has nothing to do with that. Now, I think that's a stupid thing to do in this scenario if you are going to have those two guys come in, because all of the hype train for this is built around that. The other problem that you have going into this too is that maybe this is a situation where the deals weren't in the right places. Maybe they couldn't get a deal in for Tobey Maguire. Maybe he didn't like the movie. Maybe he didn't like the script. Maybe there was a similar situation for Andrew Garfield. Maybe it was a package deal. If you can't get both of them, then get none of them. It could have been that, where maybe this fell through from a financial state between when we were hearing about it a couple months ago and now. So maybe it was originally planned that way and it wasn't, even though this film is, I believe, currently filming. So, it feels odd that you would not include both of those characters in this if you're going to also include their villains. It also feels odd that if you're going to do it this way, why you wouldn't come out and say it at this point, seeing as how, it's been on the tip of everybody's tongue who's a Marvel fan for months now. This is getting the type of attention that maybe like an Avengers film would get, in the sense of that, because this is the if they actually did do this, this would be a unition. This would be uniting all three of those franchises in one film. And again, if you do it correctly, if you pull it off, because there's always everything sounds great as an idea, but it's the execution that's always the problem. But if they were to do this, and that's the other thing too, is that they've left people on this hook for months. If they knew that this wasn't going to be the case, there's no reason why they shouldn't have come out in a press release and said, no, this is not the case. We are not doing a Spider-Verse film. Or we're not doing a Spider-Verse film with other Spider-Man. It's just going to be the Marvel Spider-Man. Or the MCU Spider-Man, I should say, because they're all Marvel films. There's a lot of red flags with this that make me question the validity of the statement. At the same time, it could also be true, and maybe Marvel's just inept at doing things from an advertising standpoint. It seems like a lot of other studios are, like Warner Brothers. But like I said, this is just kind of it's a weird little thing that I don't really understand. Now, here's the thing that you're going to see is, I guarantee you, in that first trailer, actually, I shouldn't say I guarantee this, but in that first trailer, there's probably a 50-50 shot on whether or not, if it is true that they are going to have those characters come back in. You got about a 50-50 shot in that first trailer of those characters actually showing up again. They'll probably try to stick it in at the end or something like that. 50-50 gets the first trailer. If it's 100%, it's going to be the second trailer. And I have a funny feeling they're going to try and do it so that they're not going to reveal too much. They're just going to, it'll be like a silhouette of somebody, or it'll be Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield saying something, or it'll be a shot where Tom Holland is looking towards this area and he says, "There's other Spider-Man," or something like that. There'll be a nod to it, but we won't actually see it. Now, the other question I have in regards to this is, if we don't see those things, are people going to be pissed? And I think people are already pissed by hearing this right now. I think that there's a decent amount of people that are probably not happy and taking this as fact, taking this as, they're not going to be in the movie. Tom Holland explicitly said they're not going to be in the movie. And I don't necessarily know if you should take it as fact. I don't take it as fact right now. I take it as this could be a PR move, and I'm going to wait for the trailers to make a decision on that, on whether or not it is for a fact, it is the truth, and whether or not they actually release a synopsis and explain why these other Spider-Man characters are in there from other Spider-Man universes. So, like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces going on with this right now, especially with the fact that the entertainment industry is a clusterfuck because of COVID. So, I'm not putting too much stock in this, but I'm not outright dismissing it, and I think that inevitably, if this turns out to be the case, if it turns out that they are not in this movie, I think the only thing it's going to do is hurt this film. And that is the last thing that Marvel needs to do right now, is hurt one of their biggest films that they're going to be coming out with, because they've been toting this thing. Tom Holland said it's the most ambitious solo superhero outing ever. Well, not solo superhero outing, but superhero film ever. There's been a lot of quotes on this film moving forward, and like I said, they've had plenty of chances over the past couple of months to debunk this or to say no until now. So I feel like there's something that has happened behind the scenes one way or the other, and that is why we are getting this statement. Whether that is because they couldn't get those guys to be in the movie, or whether or not it's because Holland was told to do this to deflect away from it until they can get a trailer and stuff out. Because again, I don't think this movie is supposed to come out until the end of this year, early next year, or something like that. Again, they've shifted these release dates around so much I can barely tell when these movies are going to actually come out. But I'd like to know what you think. Put in the comment section below. Anything you think about this. You still want to see the movie despite this? Do you take this like I do, with a grain of salt, where you think maybe this is a PR move or something like that, or maybe it's legitimate? As usual, I like to know what you're thinking, so put your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?